What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here today to talk a little buying and selling strategy and kind of how I like to approach things. I've talked about my method many times. It's pretty simplistic, but I recently had a really good example of it. So I thought I would just go ahead and do a standalone video on the subject. Before we get into that, YouTube stuff down below, like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget the new eBay affiliate link. If you're going to make any eBay purchases, please feel free to click that little link. I get a very small percentage. Also, we are going to be talking a little Star Stock today. If you are not on Star Stock and want to try it out, the promo code for that is down below as well. You get 10, I get 10, we all get 10 thing for a new sign up for Star Stock. I cannot recommend Star Stock enough for buying and selling in conjunction with eBay. They are both fantastic tools. You should use them both. Leverage them together. So what I wanted to talk about today was, I mentioned this in a lot of different videos. I like buying multiples because it makes things simpler. Now, it's riskier. You know, I bought multiple Donovan Mitchells right before they got delivered the day he turned his ankle. So, I mean, that play could still work out perfectly fine, but let me lead with an example where, you know, this isn't all sunshine and kittens. It doesn't always work to perfection the way that you think it's going to. However, when it does work, it just makes things so much easier. The number one question I get is, should I buy X and should I sell Y? And the sells almost always outweigh the buys. No, I said this a ton of times. Knowing when to buy is easy. We have all these fancy charts and graphs. We have all these people, YouTubers, Twitter, IG, Sasha T's, Mama T's, Mr. T, everybody telling us, go buy this, you should buy this, don't buy this, go buy this now, buy this at that price. There's tons of that out there. No one wants to walk out on the limb and really get out there and say, go sell this right now. And people are afraid to sell on their own because they want to place the decision on someone else. So if it blows up one way or the other, they can shift some of the blame. Well, I was going to hold on to it, but that Northeast Ohio sports card guy, man, he really sold me on buying this or selling that. So, you know, I mean, it was my money. I ultimately made the call, but he kind of tricked me into it. They just want that outlet for if it goes sideways that they have someone else that they can blame for it, which I get. It's human nature. I've done the same thing myself. So let's make selling or when to sell easier and also protect ourselves a little bit. And the reason I have Mr. Acuna up here, right here, Mr. Bowman Chrome, first Bowman, is because this is a recent one that I bought. I've talked about this on the channel a couple times. Talked about it a few other different places, but this is the perfect example for this. He went nuclear back in mid-April. Just absolutely nuts. And you see on the main screen here, we have Star Stock up. I bought one of these for $440. They were going for, I forget at the time, but north of or around 500. And this was the early part of that week when he started going crazy. I bought that on the 12th. Okay. A couple days later, I don't remember exactly the timing on this all, he went nuts again. And they went up to like 5 or 550, maybe 5. Maybe they sat at 5. And this was eBay pricing. They were going for north of 500 on eBay. I went and bought 2 more at 444 and 450. You can see right here, prices paid. I searched Acuna. This is my bot history on Star Stock. You can see way back here. I bought a Chrome base 2018 for 215. But I bought one for 440, one for 444, and one for 450. So I paid an average of $445 for this card. So I am into 3 of these for basically $4.45 each. That's how I like to do it, especially when I buy in clumps like this. And the prices are slightly different. Just average it out. Make life easier. I even made a post about it, a video about it, saying, as an example of how to leverage Star Stock against eBay in some cases. In some cases, stuff on Star Stock's more expensive. In some cases, stuff's cheaper. It just depends. And a couple more sold, whatever. And then he went nuclear again. Like he had like another 2 games where he hit multiple home runs. He just went completely psycho that week. And the card spiked all the way up to $600. So if I was in the position that I only bought 1 of these, now I'm kind of in that bind of, well, man, I only got 1 of these things. I really want to let this go. What if it goes to 700? What if it goes to 650? What if it goes to 750? He's getting pumped. He's going to the moon. I can't sell this thing. Are you crazy? When you have 1, that's what you talk yourself into. I had 3. They were going for a little over $600, $620, $625 on eBay, $600 to $625, let's call it, for a good day or 2 at least. And I said, you know what? We've all seen this story before. He can't maintain this pace. It's going to pull back some and reestablish at a new floor. I think this is the peak. And since I had 3, I didn't care as much because my plan was to sell a couple and hold a couple, or hold 1. So let's go over to sold. Let's look at sold. Sold. Search for Acuna. Oh, 215 for 244. Oh, well, February and March days. So you can see here, I sold 2. I sold 1 for 590. I sold 1 for 600. Factoring in Star Stock's cut of 5%, I profited $240 from the sell of those 2 cards. So I made $240. You can see I sold them on 420 and 422. I sold the second one. And I bought them on, when did I buy them? Bought them on 414 and 414 and 412. So even after Star Stock fees, I made $240. So I made a $240 profit. And then I said, you know what? I wouldn't mind having a first Bowman Chrome Acuna. So I sent this one home. Showed up today. It took a week. I requested it last Monday. I got it today. I was actually supposed to have it on Saturday, but it didn't get here in time. Got slightly delayed at the local post office. So I actually almost had it in like 5 days instead of 7. So I got it in a week. So now, because of executing this, I am now into this for $205. So now I can sit on this one. Even if it comes back more, my Acuna cost basis on this one is $205. That's how I math this stuff out. Bought 3 for a little over $1,300, sold 2 of them off, shipped 1 home. Now I'm into this one for a little over $200, and I'm gonna let it ride. So I made my profits on 2, kept the 3rd. And like I said, the key thing here, this makes your selling decisions easier because you have multiples. I could sell 2 off, hold the 3rd, and just kind of roll with it. And I've made my money on those 2 and lowered my cost basis on the 3rd. So if he hurts his hip tomorrow like Lou Bob did and is out for 12 or 14 weeks and his market crashes, sure, was there an opportunity cost of not selling this at 600? Yeah, I could have sold it and made another play. But I like the idea of having at least 1 Acuna Chrome first Bowman long term. Now I can roll the dice on it. Now I get the best of both worlds. I made a little bit here and I still get to hold a card. That's why I like buying multiples. Like I said, this was a perfect scenario. It worked out great. I bought it for $450, $440, whatever. It spiked up. I was immediately able to sell a profit. Just be aware, they're not all going to work like that. I started with the Donovan Mitchell, for example, where I bought the 3 and he turned his ankle the next day. Now, that could still work out. I feel like I got a decent deal on that. They have slipped a little bit since I bought it because he got hurt, but I think they could easily spike back up again in the playoffs, and then I'm okay on that play. And I don't know what I'm going to sell off on the Mitchell lot. On the Mitchell lot, I did it a little different because it was one person selling all three as a lot, and I was like, this is perfect. It was a base Prism PSA 10 and 2 base Optic PSA 10s. So we'll see how that turns out. But just a little behind the scenes how I like to do this. I know I've talked about it a bunch, but I wanted to give a real world example of kind of how I operate with all this stuff. And like I said, it is risky because if the player blows up, this could have gone just as sideways as the Mitchell play did or worse. But in this case, it didn't. And I've executed this multiple times with multiple cards with multiple players. And it's a nice way to start building up a collection and taking a profit as you move along the way and mitigating your risk as you move along. You know, we talk about on the channel getting into the black and mitigating your risk as much as possible. This exact situation is how I do that. If you guys and girls have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Catch you on the next one. Peace.